Hi guys, Roy from Twisty Road Rider, and today we're going to do something different. We're going to park up our Honda CBR 500 for a little while at least, and we're going to do something different today. Let me show you. We're going to get out a new type of Honda. Hey guys, Roy from Twisty Road Rider, and today we're going to be doing an oil change on our Honda. We'll be having the blade off as well and sharpening the blade on my old 150mm bench grinder. We'll be getting the air filter out, changing that, cleaning up the spark plug, and we'll be draining the oil. Now, to change the oil, we need to unscrew that. The oil only goes in one way and comes back out the other way. So I'll have to lift the whole machine up and capture it in this bowl and then put it inside an empty plastic carton. So let's take a look, see what's going on the underside of this. And when we tilt these and rock them over, really, we don't want to flood the filter and the carburetor. So we always want to tip them away from themselves like that. So let's take a look, see what's going on underneath. There's the blade. We're going to need to take that 14mm nut off of there. Look, there's some old garden twine wrapped around there, and we're going to need to clean all this crap off. The belt looks pretty good actually, so we're going to leave that going, but we're certainly going to clean off all this old stuff and clean up the wheels as well. So first things first, let's have the spark plug lead off there. We don't need anything starting up accidentally, and then we're going to take this plug out, and it doesn't look that bad actually, but anyway, we're going to change it anyway. We're going to tip the oil out. This thing, let's get away a ton. There she goes. It's actually black. According to the dipstick, it looked pretty good, but as you can see, that's pretty gunky. It's had lots of use last summertime. So we're going to have to, you can see that oil. We're going to have to lift this machine in a minute, just to make sure we get all of it out. So let's hoist it. Let's hoist this up. So now, ready. There we go. Okay. That should do it. Let's capture that. There we go. Right, what we're going to do, I'm going to dispose of the oil sensibly, and I don't know if you can see that. I tend to use empty milk cartons and empty water bottles and so on, put an old engine oil in. But anyway, I've got a rag underneath this one, so just in case I don't get it all in the bowl sensibly. There we go. So putting the dipstick in there, the oil, I wasn't going to change the oil actually, but because it looked alright on the dipstick, it looked clear. surprisingly, it's black and it's burnt out. So this is a 500ml bottle, and as you can see there's not that much oil in there. Now keeping in mind I haven't used this for a year and just run it out just the other day just to do the first cut of the year. So I'm going to imagine not having a manual to hand is going to be 400 to 500 mils. I would have thought 400 mils in this machine. But what we're going to do is tried and tested method. We're going to tip some oil in, and then we're going to keep topping it up and testing the dipstick to see where we are with that. But anyhow, there we are, ready to dispose of safely. Let's move that to the side. Don't need that for the moment. The next thing we're going to do is put the dipstick back in. I'm just going to turn that round now so you can see that. Let's put that back a bit. I'm going to take the blade off. Right, I'm sure this is 14mm. And as I said earlier, I disconnected the spark plug. Wow, that's tight. Okay, so I'm going to use the old-fashioned torque wrench. I have got one, but essentially that was tight. That was a good bit of arm strength to get that tight. So let's put that up there safely. Those sockets. And what we're going to do, we're going to cut off this old garden twine wrapped around it, and we're going to clean off the rest of it. So pretty good. Right, let's go and start the machine up. Hi Richard, yeah, just minding my fingers actually. I haven't cut them yet, but just want to check them before we start, just to check everything's good. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got 5 on that hand, and I've got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I've got 6 on that hand. I've got 11 fingers, so hopefully everything will be good. You see that? I've got the machine for donkey's use actually, and I had to adapt the guard's broken on that one. So whenever I use a wire brush, I always use goggles on that. I keep meaning to put some housing on it, but funny me uses it, so there we go. You can probably see how rough this blade is if you get it in the right light. So that's the cutting edge there, and it's knackered. Gone. And the same with, let me put something under it so you can see it. And the same with that edge there. So I'll be sharpening that back. So we're just going to square off the blade because there were some chunks missing. So once we've got it square-ish, put the button back on. Like that. sharpen up the rest of this blade, but just to show you how we actually balance the blade, because the blade needs to be weighted. We need to check it's perfectly balanced. We just find a nail sticking out of a piece of wood. There's a good one. It needs to be sticking out far enough, and you can soon tell if the blade's weighted or not. And pretty much now, if it was out of balance in any particular big way, I'd just take a bit of material off of one end or the other. Anyhow, let's carry on with the sharpening. I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, we're nearly done with the blade now. As you can see, it doesn't need to be paper sharp, kind of butter knife sharp really. And we've got rid of all those chunks that were in there. And nice and straight now. Not bad. And just to show you, the blade needs to be balanced, so we can hang that on the nail, and you can see that's not too bad. It's not too bad, so we're happy with that. I'll fit it back. Hi Pete, is it a bird? Is it a plane? Clearly it's a bird. We're nearly ready to put the blade back, but before we go, I'm going to use the DeWalt 18 volt cordless drill with a brass cup in the end of it, just to spin round and just to clean up the blade. A bit noisy, so I might come back to this, but just to get it off. You can see that lifting the muck, rust and old grass off of there. So quite clearly you can see that doing a good job. So we're just going to do the entire blade, both back and front, on that. And we're also going to clean up the underside and get all this grass off there. So just looking on the underside of this machine, you can see there's quite a lot of debris I've taken off this already, and I'm just scooping off with different size screwdrivers, flat screwdrivers, just to lift that off. So we can just go around all these areas and just lift it. I mean, the machine underside is never going to be immaculate, but certainly we can get a lot of this topsoil and grass off of there, which goes on to corrode the machine. But fortunately, this is a Honda, and this chassis is aluminium, so should be good for many years to come. I've had it for about 5 or 6 years anyway, but yeah, so that's pretty good. Any hard to reach areas where you can't really get your hand inside to scoop out, I've borrowed the wife's toothbrush, so always comes in handy, so I can reach right in there and flick anything out. And at the end of the day, with giving this a rinse under a hot water tap, it'd be as good as new, so I can return that back to her later. So anyhow, bye for now. Okay, welcome back guys. So we've been all around with our cordless drill with the brass wire cup in there, and we've used little screwdrivers and little brushes and so on. So now it's time to put the blade back on. So nut and washer, 14mm nut. So what you can do to save the whole thing from spinning when you're trying to do it up, you could use a block of wood and jam a block of wood in any way you like. Turn the blade until you get that lock position, or just hold against it, as I'm going to do now. Now you don't want to round that nut off, obviously. This is a 14mm bit, and we're just going to tighten this in now. So if you remember when we took this off, this was tight, as in arm tight, but you don't really want any shoulder behind it. So as you can see, the debris we've taken out of this. So what we're going to do now is spin it over, and we're going to top the oil up now. But I mentioned earlier, you want to turn it on the side where the air filter is, because you don't want to flood the carb. And I've had the spark plug out, I've cleaned that. HT lead is off, because when you're working on the blade you don't want any accidental starts for whatever the reason. We took the oil out of here earlier. There's only one place to put the oil and to take the oil out, and that's he's doing on its side obviously. So we're going to get some oil and put that in there now. Try and do this one-handed. So we've got our lawnmower engine oil for the Mountfield, but it's lawnmower engine oil obviously. And in here I've got a bit left over from the other year actually. I've got just over 400 mils left in there, so I'm going to put about 250 to 300 in that, and then give it a test. So obviously you need plenty of rags around catching any spillage. So we've got a bit more to go yet. Oop. Good job. Bit of an airlock there. Okay, so what we got? I've put in there so far and about 200 mils. So let's just easy does it. And we're going to see how we're going to get on with that. Let's just give that a clean up. Okay. So let that get right in there, the bottom of the sump. Got your guidelines on your gauge dipstick. Screw that in there. Let's have a look. Okay, well, that's saying that's pretty up to the top, so I'm going to leave that. So didn't take a lot of oil at all. Let's have a look. So that took not even 200 millilitres of oil. So right. Now then, spark plug lead back on. We've got petrol in it. We've got the air filter back in. We cleaned the plug earlier. So there's nothing else to do except for try and fire it up. So let's set that down there. See if it starts up. First time or second time. Okay. So that bit choke. So safety cut out on that. It's not going to fire up. There we go, another good job. Something I made last summertime. I found a tree trunk, and as you do, and I decided to hit it with an axe, as you do, and that's what I made. This boy. So I took some chisels and I carved eyes, nose, mouth, some features, really, teeth and so on. But the weather's got it a little bit through the winter. But anyway, free feature, not bad. while we're about, speaking of axes, I decided to see what I could do with a hammer and a blow lamp, and heat up some copper pipes and smack them around with a hammer. So just let me tell you this. I took 5 pieces of 22mm copper pipe, 5 pieces 12 inches long, and I heated them up, and then I split them, I cut them all the way down the middle with wire cutters, and then I proceeded to whack them around with a hammer. And this puppy is what I made. You see, a copper king. So there's your 5 pieces of copper. I used punches and centre punches to cut the holes in there, but and there it is with the back. And I tried soldering it up, but because I was heating it and nailing it and so on, the solder kept on melting. So what I did in the end, I drilled some holes and made these like copper nails, really, splints of copper, and I poked them through there and hammered them flat, so they ended up being rivets for this thing. But anyway, that's my copper king. There for free.